All right. So now that we have our drawing set, we're going to go ahead and shade them. And for this, I'm going to use these softer pencils. If you don't have softer pencils, it can be helpful to put something hard behind your page, like a clipboard, or not a book necessarily, because that just has, you'll just end up writing on it. And cardboard doesn't really work either. It has to be maybe a hardcover book or something hard, but then your pencil's kind of working against it, and so that can help you. If you decide that you really like shading and pencil drawing and drawing in general and want to kind of see what happens with your development, go ahead and invest in, this is a great pack of pencils. It ranges from HB all the way up to 8B. I bought a 9B separately, so I have an even darker pencil now, but those can be really helpful in your drawing skills. And just make it a little more fun because you don't have to work so hard to get the darker values. Okay, so I'm going to freshen my pencils. Pencils really like to be freshened, even when we can see lead. You know, again, these are not writing implements, they are drawing implements. So even when we can see lead, they often just want to have a little freshness. So we sharpen them and get them ready to go. So now that I've laid out my drawing, I really use the 2B or HB to lay out the drawing so that I can do a soft line. But when I get to the shading part, I move on to my 4B. 4B is a nice, it's actually a really nice size of pencil. Now I have light coming from the front here, and that's not generally what artists like to do. Artists tend to accentuate light, and we can make light where none exists. So I will pick a light source. We can pick any side, it doesn't matter. I think I'm going to pick this side. My light is coming from the right. That is usually what I choose for some reason. But I'm going to go ahead and draw a light bulb so that I don't forget. When I'm painting, I often will, let's just do it, I'll just show you. I often put a little spot of yellow on my painting so that I remember where my light source is coming from. Because sometimes, you know, this one isn't very complicated, but sometimes when you get into a complicated scene, you can kind of forget as you're painting along where the light is coming from. And again, this is not about reality, this is about artistic expression. So we get to choose which side it's coming from. And what does that mean? That means that there will be a highlight on this side of our objects, and this side will be darker, and then down here will be darkest, right? So let's go ahead and take our 4B pencil, if you have one. And to do our shading, I'm just going to start with this one, the one I like the least. To do our shading, we're going to lie our pencil flat, and we're going to leave a space here. Well, actually, there's two ways to do it. We could color the whole pencil, the whole object, and then erase a highlight. I'm not going to do that because these objects are kind of big, and it would take a long time to do that, to cover the whole thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in and kind of go around like this and give this object a medium tone. And I'm going to make this darker, because it is darker, but I'm still going to leave a highlight. Now I can go in the direction of the object. That is usually what I do, but this one's so, the space is so big that I'm kind of just trying to fill it. There we go. Okay, so I have highlight, I have a mid-tone, and now I'm going to take my 9B pencil and I'm going to make it much darker over here. Now, you can't tell this, but I'm actually using the same pressure, but because I have a proper pencil, it achieves a darker dark. And then this is one of the few circumstances where I am going to choke up on my pencil so that I can make that even darker, and then come in here and make this even darker. I'm choking up, but I'm still being loose because I don't know if you've noticed, but there's all this kind of like weird bubbly stuff going on in that stem, and I'm trying to kind of achieve some of that with my marks. So I'm still being a little loose, even though I'm giving that a little more definition. And I might even come and make it a little darker where it's furthest from the light. And you know, when you're developing value, this is a good time to stand up and look at it from afar. And I see that that hard line looks kind of weird. So I'm just going to come in and, you know, a real shadow would not just be a line. It would, you know, have more body to it. So I'm just going to give that a little bit more and then come over and maybe do a little bit more. And again, you see that my pencil is on its side because that just gives me faster coverage. All right, that's looking a lot more like a pear. So I'm going to sharpen this 9B pencil again, and then let's do this one. So I'm taking the 4B. Now this one had a funky stem, and it was darker at the top, but I'm still gonna leave a little highlight where this guy's coming off to the light. So I'm not gonna do much with that spot right there. I might give it a little definition, just maybe a little squiggle, because it is a stem. But essentially what I want to do is come in here and give this stem some definition. Now I want to leave a bit of a highlight, but I also notice that there's a shadow from where the stem is. And so I want to put that there too. So let's kind of skip that spot for now and then just come down here and give it a little more definition. Now this one in real life would also have the shadow from this on it, but let's not worry about that till next time. Next time we're gonna be looking at objects more as a still life, more together, and then we'll pay more attention to that. So I'm gonna take the 9B and do the same thing I did here, where it's furthest from the light, make it a little darker. Now I'm standing up, and so what that does is it just helps me be a little further from my object, and I can just see a little better what I need to do. And so I'm gonna go ahead and darken around there, maybe around here, maybe kind of darken that top there, still keeping the highlight. And then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put the shadow in here where that is. And maybe that will be enough for now. Now you can already see that these have really come alive compared to this one. And this one I did really fast, and so I didn't give it much more of a low light there. So let's go ahead and do that. And then, you know, if some of these lines you think are too scraggly, you can go ahead and soften them with your eraser. Our erasers are excellent drawing tools as well. Okay, we've got 2 down, 1 to go. My 9B pencil was getting a little, just feeling like I need to be refreshed a little bit. So let's do it again. Oh, and the 4B, I'm almost out of lead entirely after all of that shading. Okay. Oh, that's a nice lead on that one. We're ready. Okay, so here's again my highlight over here. We'll just go ahead and kind of fill in this. Then let me get the 9B, come in here where it's a little darker, fill in more of that. Furthest from the light. You know, and the next time you have a candle going or something, you know, it's hard to tell in our houses because we usually have more than one source of light. But next time you have a candle going or something, just set some objects in front of it and see what's happening. See where the light is hitting, how there's kind of a grade of light. Again, I'm gonna give that a little more definition. And then let me get that pear back. I don't know if you've been able to tell, but it's easier to draw when you have an object in front of you. So for beginning drawers, I really recommend having something in front of you that you're looking at. And you can see that I've left a little highlight on that stem. And then let's go ahead and make it a little darker over on this side and on the bottom. There. And then we can soften this line a little bit, maybe make that highlight a little more pronounced. And there we go. We have 3 pairs that are all shaded, and you know, go ahead and take a pair. You can draw all of these pairs. You could draw another piece of fruit, maybe something that, I find apples a little challenging because of the burbles at the bottom, but you can go ahead and give that a try, or a lemon or an orange or anything. You know, the point is to work on the shading, excuse me, to work on the shading so that you can start to see when something needs more value. Now I'm already noticing that this one here needs a little more value. And don't forget to set your drawing up and look at it from afar. You know, even arm's length is not far enough. Even I often set them up against a wall, look at them from afar, or just, you know, sometimes I just stand up and I can see, then you can really see, like, is there enough pop in this picture, which is the dark. All right, next up is a still life, but give this exercise a practice. Thanks, bye-bye.